If you are someone who is highly sensitive, or what we sometimes call empathic, and you found it very difficult to engage in conventional modern day dating, then know that you are not alone. In fact, most highly sensitive, highly evolved spiritual beings, individuals, struggle to blend in to the modern dating world. Because in today's world, there is a lot of toxicity that is widely accepted as normal, even completely normalized within modern dating, to the point where when we talk about soul connection, authenticity, divine connection, these things may be completely dismissed by most people who are still caught up in this modern and yet very broken system of relating to others within our romantic relationships, especially in the beginning phases of dating. We are told by society to play hard to get, to not be too available, to play mind games with others within romantic relationships, again, especially in those initial phases of dating. And the reason we are fed all of this negative programming about romantic relationships and how we should connect with others within those relationships is predominantly coming from what I like to refer to as the collective wounded masculine and the collective wounded feminine. Many of you who watch my channel are familiar with my readings. I specifically read very frequently for twin flame connections or divine counterpart, divine love connections. And within these readings, I like to address kind of what we think of as the yin-yang, as both sides of the equation when it comes to twin flame connection, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Now, the thing is, these energies don't just exist in a balance within us individually and between us and our partner in a romantic relationship. These are actually also very collective, very global energies. We have a global masculine, meaning that energetically there is a masculine energy that exists around us within our society that influences us collectively in certain ways, that programs us in certain ways. And simultaneously, there is this global feminine energy that again influences us in certain ways. Now, over the course of millennium, the global masculine and the global feminine have been wounded collectively in unique kinds of ways that then gets passed on to us. This wounding essentially gets programmed naturally into us from a young age, not just from our parents, although our parents do hold a strong influence over what we see as an example of masculine and feminine energy and interaction, but not just through our family, but through society as well. We are trained, taught, and programmed to interact and react in certain ways. And of course, this kind of programming seeps into our view, our paradigm of romantic relationships and how we are, quote unquote, supposed to interact within those relationships. So of course this will play out differently depending on us as an individual, how much of this wounded programming we have personally absorbed, and how much of it we have consciously become aware of and perhaps unraveled. And we could do an entire video on specifically divine feminine and divine masculine wounding trends, in general what these wounds are, especially within Western society, but I feel that would take a very long time to dive into. So for now, I'm just going to leave it a bit broad. I'm sure you know personally how these wounded energies may apply in certain toxic ways that have emerged within yourself, within your partners, or within your relationships. But in general, the key theme is that this negative programming steers us away from truly being authentic, truly being vulnerable, raw, open with others, because it teaches us that vulnerability is weakness, that vulnerability leaves us open to hurt, leaves us open to rejection, or in fact, some would even tell us that vulnerability and authenticity actually invites rejection, invites people to feel repelled away from us because we may be told that we are too authentic, that we are too much, that we are oversharing about ourselves and our lives, when really just we are radiating that authenticity. And what's really going on here is people who are very superficial, meaning that they have many layers of superficiality covering their own core frequency and also covering or masking their own wounding, not just from others, but from themselves. When someone who is more awakened, more conscious, more spiritual comes along and is fiercely authentic, metaphorically, this is like shining a flashlight in the eyes of someone who is trying to sleep. And we could apply this almost literally because we may consider these people to be more spiritually asleep or less spiritually conscious, less conscious of their own wounding and programming. So when someone like you, who is very spiritual, very sensitive in the best kind of way, by the way, not the way that sometimes sensitivity is viewed by society as being a negative thing, but as a very beautiful and powerful spiritual gift. When you come along and radiate that authenticity, you are going to be polarizing, because powerful energy is always inherently polarizing. I actually created an Instagram post about this just a few days ago. My Instagram is, by the way, at Magnetize Yourself if you want to follow me there. But on Instagram, I was speaking about how powerful energy is inherently polarizing. It inherently causes a strong reaction within people. That's why some of the most powerful and successful people, the most transformational people, those who started immense change, global change, are both absolutely adored and loved and absolutely hated and despised, because they shine a powerful signal that strongly attracts those who resonate with them and strongly repels those who do not resonate with them. And you are like that powerful signal. You are like that bright, shining flashlight, where for some it is a guiding light. It is helpful to them along their journey. It is beautiful to them. And for others, it is unwanted because they may want to remain in their own darkness, in their own unconsciousness. And simply by you being present with them, being present in such a strong, powerful, authentic, radiant energy, even without saying a word, that begins to repel those who would rather remain in their unconsciousness. So this is especially true for those of you who are very empathic, but oftentimes empaths struggle specifically to participate in modern dating culture because they are naturally repelled by anything that is disaligned energetically, especially within other human beings. So when they come across someone who is presenting something that is very different from who they actually are at the core of their being, empaths unconsciously can sense this disalignment, and it causes them to feel very uncomfortable. Even those who are sensitive and unconscious, those who are less awakened to their own empathic abilities, will feel this dissonance within themselves when they are either in the presence of someone who is trying to project something that they are not on a core level, or when this unconscious empath themselves attempts to mask their true authentic self for the purpose of being loved, validated, or accepted, or simply because it's what they were trained or programmed to do. If they find themselves doing this, they will feel that same dissonance, that same uncomfortable feeling within themselves that ultimately leads them to really take one of two routes, either to continue to attempt to either project something that they are not to be accepted, or to be around people who are very inauthentic themselves and to dismiss these uncomfortable feelings about that within them. Or usually option number two for these highly sensitive, beautiful souls is that they will actually withdraw from people around them because they feel so exhausted by the inauthenticity they are confronted with as they are attempting to blend in with a very broken, negatively programmed society and dating culture. And this just leads to feelings of deep level inauthenticity, discomfort within themselves, exhaustion, fatigue, even low levels of constant stress and anxiety in these inauthentic social or dating situations. So the third and less known and most challenging and yet most rewarding options for those of us who are highly empathic, highly sensitive people, or perhaps even twin flames, because twin flames are always inherently highly sensitive, highly empathic, because they are highly evolved souls who have lived many, many lifetimes. So they have learned this energetic sensitivity. They store that knowing unconsciously in their soul, and they carry it with them into this incarnation. So for those of you who are highly sensitive, the third option here, as opposed to one, which is, as I said earlier, choosing to either be inauthentic or just simply accept that dating and connecting with others is going to feel inauthentic. Two, feeling just so exhausted you withdraw. Option number three, and again, the most difficult and yet most rewarding option, is to stand in your power, stand in your truth, stand in your authenticity, radiate that authenticity fiercely, and allow yourself to be the powerful and polarizing person, force that you are, meaning that you will naturally and strongly attract those maybe few who will connect with your energy, who will resonate with you. And at the same time, you will strongly repel many who will not resonate with you, who will not feel a connection with you in your authenticity. And really the key and the challenging thing to learn as a twin flame or just as an empath is how to be able to be confident and courageous enough to simply be what we are at that core authentic level, and to trust the universe, to trust the divine forces guiding our life, to trust that we will strongly repel those who were not meant for us, and actually those who simply were not ready to receive us, those who would rather remain in their own unconsciousness. We will strongly repel those people, but simultaneously we will equally strongly attract to us those few who will be ready to receive us, those who will connect with us on that authentic soul level. So how does the concept of twin flames play into all of this? As I titled this video, playing games doesn't work with a twin flame because all twin flames are highly empathic, highly sensitive beings, again, because they are evolved souls who have lived many lifetimes, many incarnations, and have learned the gift of sensitivity. Now, that is not to say all twin flames are conscious empaths, because many twin flames, especially many divine masculines, not all, again, I'm generalizing here, but many divine masculines, although they are equally empathic to the divine feminine, they are often unconscious empaths. So the interesting thing about this is that these unconscious empathic twin souls will very often attempt to merge themselves with modern dating culture by following the so-called dating rules. They will attempt to project a false image of themselves and to interact in this superficially programmed way with others within dating. And they may even find some success with this. Very often they will be able to connect with others. They will be able to date others successfully in the dating world. They may even at times feel some connection to these others. But the key is all of this connection they feel to others when they are interacting from a space of wounded energy, either wounded masculine or wounded feminine energy, they will always find themselves feeling only superficial level connection. So again, there can be connection there with these others, but it will always feel very shallow in some sense, very superficial. And because of this, they will also always find themselves feeling deeply unfulfilled, unsatisfied, longing for more within these connections. And again, these feelings of emptiness, loneliness even when they are with or connecting with these other people, will pervade their dating life and interactions with others, even if they are unconsciously empathic, even if they are less awakened, more entrenched in the matrix, sometimes what we refer to as the matrix twin. So what happens is twin flames are actually, the way that twin flames attract one another is entirely opposite from the way in which we are taught or programmed to interact with others in the dating world. So twin flames, rather than being attracted to one another based on some superficial projection or appearance or illusion of the self, of usually the ego-based or ego-driven self, twin flames are attracted to one another based on their core soul frequency, which is sometimes referred to as a soul song. Now, the unique thing about twin flame connections from other soul connections, such as soulmates, romantic soulmates, is that twin flames actually share an identical core soul frequency, unlike our soul family, which doesn't share our identical frequency, but just a very similar one. So when we begin to shift from inauthenticity to authenticity, when we begin to shift from ego-based thinking to soulful living, when we shift from what our ego self or others around us want us to be doing with ourselves, our time, or our energy, into setting strong energetic boundaries, and within those boundaries, holding firm to our soul purpose, our soul mission, and coming into a greater awareness, awakening to that soul mission. As we make these shifts, we begin to peel back these layers of superficiality, of negative programming, of ego-based and ego-driven thinking. And the more we peel back those layers, the more strongly we begin to radiate that core soul frequency. Now, what begins to happen? What happens is, because we are radiating an alignment, an aligned frequency, a frequency that is in alignment between what we are projecting, the self we are projecting to the world, and what we are at the core, we then begin to open the doorway to call in true soul connections. In our love life, this means romantic soulmates and potentially a divine love connection, or what I refer to as a twin flame connection. Now, the thing about twin flames is that twin flames, because they share our identical soul song or core soul frequency, will be equally repelled or attracted to us, depending on how authentic we are being, how strongly we are radiating that core soul frequency. If we are not radiating it strongly, meaning that we have many layers of ego-based thinking, programming, we are clinging onto wounded kinds of energy within ourselves, either wounded masculine or wounded feminine energy, what happens is we can actually repel our twin flame just as strongly as we could potentially attract them if we were radiating our authenticity. And part of why this is because everything in our universe is based on the law of attraction, which states that like attracts like. Now, for twin flames, sharing an identical core soul frequency by the law of attraction means that we naturally attract one another the most strongly of any other soul connection. But just like a powerful magnet can get turned around, or I should say two magnets could attract themselves just super strongly, but then if they get turned the wrong direction, they could repel with equal strength. Twin flames can attract and repel one another with equal strength, depending on how strongly they are radiating their core soul frequency. So this is why traditional dating rules and regulations and ways of interacting does not work with twin flames, meaning all of those things you were taught by society: do your hair this kind of way, dress this kind of way, get this kind of haircut, wear this kind of makeup, act this way, even if it's not really you, talk this way, even if it's not really you. We are taught to really bend, to really manipulate our true soul self to attract others, especially within romantic relationships. So sometimes we make the mistake of accidentally or unconsciously applying this same way of thinking, behaving, or interacting within the context of twin flame love, within our twin flame relationship. And we find ourselves at times confused because those old ways of relating, dating, those outdated ways of presenting this false self in order to be validated and then slowly allowing someone to get to know us over time. That is how most people relate in conventional dating. But with twin flames, it's all backwards. It doesn't work. We are our most authentic self first, and then that frequency attracts or pulls our twin flame into our life. And anytime we steer away from that core soul authenticity and try to slip back into superficiality, into pretending to be something we're not, into ego-driven or ego-motivated behavior or the projection of appearances, we find that our twin flame is repelled by some of the very appearances and behaviors that may have attracted other people in the past into our life, less authentic soul connections into our life. So all of this is to say that the closer we get to ourselves, the closer we get to our twin flame, it's both the most beautiful and expansive, and also at times the most frustrating part of this connection, because again, our usual way of relating to others that we were taught by society does not apply within twin flame connection. I have created a twin flame 7 chakra clearing subliminal that is designed for this very purpose, to assist you in peeling back all of the layers of negative programming, of ego-driven behavior, of inauthenticity, in order to get you back to your core soul frequency. And of course, as I've been saying throughout this podcast, it is that core soul frequency that magnetically attracts your twin flame into your life. This subliminal works so powerfully because it contains 7 different binaural beat frequencies that resonate with each of the chakras in the energy body. And within these chakra centers is where we store all of these negative, unconscious, limiting beliefs that cause us to repel our twin flame like that magnet that's turned the wrong direction. So to get the magnet turned back around within that metaphor, we have to peel back all of those layers of negative programming. The problem is many of those layers are actually stored very unconsciously within the subconscious mind. It's actually said that 95% of our thoughts are actually unconscious, which means that because the subconscious is a reflection of the energy field, most of our energy blocks are actually stored through the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind can essentially act as a doorway by which we can deeply reprogram ourselves, our energy field, and remagnetize ourselves for divine love connection, for our twin flame connection. So this subliminal comes from my website, soundandsoulful.com. As you can see on the screen, I've created over 100 subliminals for all areas of life, and they are all on this website. I have subliminals for physical appearance changes, for mood shifts like confidence and happiness, for different chakra-focused clearing rituals, for love connections, and for twin flames specifically. So you can try out this 7 chakra twin flame clearing, as well as any of the more than 100 subliminals I've created, completely free for 7 days by creating a free trial account on my website, soundandsoulful.com. And again, all of that information is linked below in the pinned comment and description box under this video. I hope that something from this podcast reached you in some kind of a meaningful way. I hope that you have the courage, the confidence in yourself to radiate that true soul authentic frequency, regardless of how it may repel certain inauthentic or willingly unconscious people from your life. I believe in you. I am here fully energetically supporting you every step of the way. If I do resonate with you, please do consider subscribing to this channel. Join our community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself. And of course, check out my website, soundandsoulful.com, for subliminal meditations to deeply reprogram your subconscious and transform your life. Have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you again in the next podcast.